you are not possibly, and what you know will be probably what you were told. And I think the way forward would be for us to have the minister do disclosure for us. For instance, there are processes and procedure when you're going IPO. And so the equity, who has the wet equity? Nigeria should have sweat equity because it's their market.
That we do not need very bogus airports when people are hungry.
You have made your point.
What we need is what will serve the purpose of people traveling. We don't have to use airport as a basis of corruption and build up 20 billion contract airport when you just needed just a plane that will land 50 people at a time. Nigeria should not compete with America. We don't have that strength. Our people are jobless. People are hungry. Don't, please, man. I'm telling you on the note.
You have made your point.
We don't go.
Chairman, you have made your point. Chairman, you have made.
A civil society organization is offering an all-paid expenses scholarship to take out of school girls back to the classroom. The CSO made this known during the introduction of the Feminist Coalition Girls Education Program via a webinar. The scholarship will, however, cover the beneficiaries from their primary education to tertiary levels. Correspondent Aisha Olayemi completes the story.
According to a report by United Nations Children's Fund, about 10.5 million Nigerian children are not in school, and out of this undesirable figure, over 80% are girls. The statistics further reveal that an estimated 1.3 million girls drop out of school each year before reaching the lower secondary education. This civil society organization is intervening to rescue the future of these girls.
There are many young, brilliant girls who just don't have the opportunities to have a great education. These girls come from great families, great homes. Their parents loved them, and they were very eager and supportive to get them this education. So we wanted to support in that way.
Beneficiaries of this program will, however, undergo a few assessments following specific guidelines.
All students that have been admitted into the JSS 1, we are giving them another assessment. We are going to assess them again in terms of literacy and numeracy. That will enable us to know where they are. Then we'll be able to see the kind of support that each individual needs.
The target of this program is not just to reduce the number of out-of-school girls population, but to also improve the health of girls across the country.
Educated women are less likely to die in childbirth and more likely to go on to have very healthy and very well-nourished children. More so, investing in the education of one girl has cascading effects for future generations. Children of literate moms and children of literate women are 50% more likely to live past the age of 5 and more likely to go to school by themselves.
While the federal government in its own capacity strive to provide better education services for Nigerian children, interventions like this can help to achieve an accelerated result, which is to take all kids back to school. From the nation's capital, Aisha Olayemi, Silverbird News 24.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talin, says it is important for all states in Nigeria quicken the domestication on the implementation of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, the Child Rights Act. The minister's call came ahead of Nigeria's joining other countries to kick off 16 days of activism against gender-based violence on women and girls. Luciana Areyi takes it up from here.
Gender-based violence against women in Africa is a threat to women in society. In Nigeria, statistics shows that 30% of women and girls between age 19 to 49 have experienced some form of violence. Minister of Women Affairs Pauline Talin says it is important for government to put more commitment in prosecuting cases of gender and sexual-based violence in Nigeria.
This trend is unacceptable, and we will all intensify efforts with the Federal Ministry of Justice to ensure justice for victims and survivors. The total number of states that have domesticated the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act is now 33. While the Child Rights Act, that we are only 7, now has scaled up to 27. Only 9 states are yet, and I assure you, I've been on their neck, the governors and the speakers of the Houses of Assembly to ensure that this is done before the end of the year.
Violence against women during the COVID-19 pandemic was a shadow pandemic within the pandemic, as 1 in 4 women felt more unsafe at home during this period. Stakeholders are calling for joint forces in ending this menace.
Preventive efforts are pivotal to eliminate harmful practices such as child marriage, female genital mutilation, and for preventing crimes of human trafficking, sexual violence, and domestic violence. It requires a commitment from all of us to transform those harmful social norms and stereotypes that sustain gender inequalities.
Violence against women and girls is a pervasive human rights violation that takes place everywhere across the globe. Now is the time for all of us to translate our commitment in a victim-centered response.
The global theme for this year's activism is Orange the World, End Violence Against Women Now. This calls for more synergy and implementation of legal frameworks which will address gender-based violence in the society. Luciana Arain, Silverbird News 24.
You are watching News Blitz, reaching you live from Abuja. We will be back with more reports after this break. Please stay tuned. The federal government has urged stakeholders in the women's sector to empower Nigerian women across the country in order to improve the nation's gross domestic product. The Minister of Women Affairs, Paul Intalin, who made this call at the launch of the Forum for Women in Film and Television International Nigeria chapter, says women's voices and action must be amplified. Correspondent Margaret Ogbo has details.
Empowering a woman is essential to the health and social development of families, communities, and nations across the globe. Nigeria is ranked 128 out of 153 countries in the world on the 2020 Global Gender Gap Index. To bridge this gap, the Forum for Women in Film and Television International, WIFTI, has been launched.
The importance of empowering women and girls presents an avenue to have a competitive age in a competitive environment dominated by men, and this cannot be overemphasized. The multi-generational chapter of women in film and television should form part of the skilled workforce. By this, we will effectively be contributing to Nigeria's gross domestic product.
Stakeholders have been urged to invest more on empowering Nigerian women across the country.
Establishing the Nigeria chapter of WIFTI is a significant step in advancing the professional development of women working in all areas of film, video, and other screen-based media. It will help amplify the voices and actions of women in the creative arts.
If women's rights must be advanced, what must they do?
We believe that women, when they come together as a collective, are a powerful force for change. It is important for women's rights in Nigeria. It's important for us to ensure that we have all hands on deck to support the work on gender.
We know the power we have to shape culture, to shape minds. We know it. Now we are going to learn together, collaborate together, and use it for the good of womankind, for the good of humankind, but most of all, most especially, for the good of the nation that we love, for Nigeria.
The WIFTI launched in Nigeria will aid women in the creative sector in responding to gender-related priorities within their industry. From Abuja, Margaret Ogbo, Silverbird News 24.
The Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, SMED, has shown commitment to the success of the national policy on MSMEs. The agency has sought the support of development partners to ensure an efficient implementation of the policy. Director General of SMED, Diko Umaru, who was represented at a forum for donor partners, said the dialogue will ensure the achievement of the objectives outlined in the policy. These, he believes, will ensure job creation and economic growth.
Of course, what we are doing now is as part of the public-private dialogue. And for today, we are meeting with international and local development partners to see how they can put their hands together, put their ideas, put their expertise together to make sure that the policies are implemented according to.
The ISR facility is a joint undertaking of the European Union, the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, and the British Council. The facility supports public and private stakeholders in those regions in their efforts to improve the business environment and investment climate through a structured dialogue between the public and private sector.
The new policy was ratified March 17th, 2021, and a coordination mechanism is required for effective implementation. And after the coordination mechanism, we validated the process with relevant stakeholders, and part of the support they are giving them is to be able to break down the strategic actions into chewable meats.
You are still watching News Blitz. We'll bring you more news from the foreign scene after this break. Stay with us.